as corrupted. I mean, what I want to show is that they acted in the way that in the process of secularization, that we witnessed in modern time, they were transmitted, assumed by, for instance, the state model, so that the modern model, for instance, of governance will unconsciously reproduce the model of a divine world, etc., etc. So that I think there is it is this connection that I try. Then, of course, we can try to untie this or to resist this process. But what I want to do to show is that there is this hidden transmission of concept, models, patterns from the theological sphere to the political sphere.
I read this story about McDonald's, a guy that owns 12 McDonald's, and he lives in the South. And what he did was the South of the United States.
Who is McDonald's?
McDonald's is a food chain.
Of course. No, this I know.
Okay, yeah.
I thought you meant a man.
Yeah, one guy, he owns 12 restaurants. And what they did was they changed the process of the drive-through, where you drive up in your car and you're like, yeah, I'll have a Happy Meal and all this stuff. And then what they do is they take a picture, and they take a picture of what you want, or in you or something like, and they send it to Colorado, like 2,000 plus miles away, process the order like that, and make the food. This is obviously, it's pretty
for face recognition based on behavior patterns of buying.
No. When you drive up, they match your face with the photograph.
To your previous behavior.
Precisely.
Mike. Your order.
No. So they take a picture of your face.
They take a picture.
And you get your food.
No. Hold on, let me finish. Because it's good. All right. So they photograph you at the board where you order your Happy Meal. You drive up to the person, and they look at the picture and they identify you, and they give you your food. It cuts a lot of money out of the process. But this speed and collapsing of distance from Alabama to Colorado back to Alabama to me is obscene. But I'm wondering how does that change literacy if we look at the invention and mass production of books in the form that we know them now? How do we understand reading with the use of images in this way? And how do we talk to each other, since it's such a clear face? Do you have any thoughts about that? You don't need to. Are you hungry?
We have. Next year we will discuss about it.
I just wanted to return to the question.
Last question is one we stopped after.
Oh, we can, okay. Just a quick one then. I wanted to return to the question about art, because we had mentioned last night certain figures, and I would do it this way. If you go back to the notion of the effectus, and if you use a word efficacy, and you compare it to effect, efficacy could be seen as, and keep the hyphens in this, being as operative, where effect would be something more like consequence, response, or impression. And if you contrast those two, then I think you get a sense of what happens in the liturgy. So if we accept that, then you go to the model of liturgy and art practices, keeping in mind performatives. The liturgy is a performativity of life, a regulation of forms of life. And you mentioned the figure of Marcel Duchamp. What is it that makes it real that Marcel Duchamp can point at a shovel, one shovel, by the way, in a rack of many other shovels, make a photograph of the shovel, name it with an enigmatic title in advance of the broken arm, and that this has become a work of art, or a urinal, or a bicycle wheel, or this and that. It seems to me very precisely a liturgical affectivity, efficacy, and effect, a collusion of all these things. Also a ritual, because if you do it, unless you also perform the enunciation, I am an artist, that's an artwork, maybe for 5 minutes only.
Yes, there is a ready-made work of art and a ready-made artist.
Yes, exactly so.
I want to show, just then we let's stop on this.
According to Aristotle, there are two ways of meaning activity, or of human activity. The first one he called poiesis. Not only poetry, but production. And it defines poiesis, it is an activity who has its end outside. So I made a work of art, but also the shoemaker makes a shoe. These are both poiesis. Production of an external object. So the telos, the end is outside. Then there is another model according to him, which is praxis, action. According to his view, view of the Greek, praxis, the end of the action is in itself. There is no external end. What he called the praxis is an action in which the end is the action itself. I think that what we have, so traditionally the artistic process has been always classified under this model, poetical model. What happened in performance? I think that performance is a third model. Aristotle does not speak about this, of course. For him, this was all. We would say that performance is, again, a kind of overlapping or zone of indifference between them, because there the praxis becomes the work. There is no work. There is no more the production on external work, but it's not a praxis in the Aristotelian idea. It is as if both overlapped, and the result is this thing that we call performance, which there is really no work, but it is some way of work, because the work consists in the operation. The operation is in itself the work. In this sense, it is effective, like the liturgical model.
In fact, you can describe photography in that way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop.
Okay.